It is Antic versus Trident Esports. And the last time they met, well, I'm sure Antic would love to improve that score.
Yeah, it was a surprisingly rough one for Antic last time they came down. However, if the forms yesterday are any indication, Antic is in a prime position to get themselves a bit of revenge. That said, I think both of these teams very likely will be seeing each other twice before today is done, and this could always be seen as that warm-up series. Not to give any discredit away from the two Red Devils, but Trident's already beaten them yesterday 4-1, and they did so quite handily. Antic still looks in that peak form, but if Antic does drop down, we do get that matchup that we haven't seen yet in the best of 7, which could be interesting as well. Trident, of course, the number 1 seed. You should be considering them the favorites, both Biowak and J-Swag, the only two drivers to take world records away from Min. I don't know. This one is tight. This one, it's tough to predict, Kriidy. It really is, because both these teams have such high highs.
Yeah, but it's always something fascinating I think about as well. I think it goes in every esports as well, and I'm sure you can to draw many conclusions from Rocket League side as well. Is the fact the mentality of the opponent you are going up against. Every opponent is different in that regards. The mentality, that people you're playing against, and it varies every time. Like even when I play certain tournaments, I know the people I have on the servers, and sometimes I have a different mentality. So I know what the players are. I know maybe I have to push a bit more, do a bit more to keep up with them as well, and that can sometimes change the dynamic of the match as well. I'm sure you can draw many examples of that as well, where players just maybe sometimes get a bit in their head, because I'm sure Antic know very much as well that Trident Esports are the team to beat, and hopefully it doesn't get too much in the way of what they did yesterday, because yesterday they looked
both
very
these
clinical.
teams looked super clinical yesterday. And here's the thing, too, because there is sort of the safety net of the lower bracket, the pressure shouldn't be as high as it absolutely can be. And that's a little bit reflected, I feel like, in the chat coming into this one, at least on the Trident side, they're looking very relaxed coming through into this one. I think they're in a good place mentally. So I'm expecting some big things from the Kiwi team. However, Antic was the only team to get that 4-0 sweep. Antic was the only team to not drop a track. And even though they're the number 2 seed in the playoffs, I'm pretty sure they were the number 1 seed coming into this event. So, again, this matchup realistically can go either way. I'm still kind of holding my breath for the grand final to kind of see, what form one of these two teams will look like then. If not both of these teams, we'll see. Lower bracket final still to come. But it's a fascinating one for me. My eyes in particular, though, are on the Trident side. Biowak in particular looked absolutely killer yesterday. And I think if that continues, Antic's going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah. Of course, in regards to my prediction, of course, I'm gonna get absolutely hanged by the producers, by the production.
Are you taking 2 Red Devils?
I think I am going for 2 Red Devils. I think Trident will beat Antic here, and the 2 Red Devils will beat them in the lower bracket.
I think it's the other way.
I think that will happen.
I'm every opposite. I have Antic winning this one, actually, because I think the two of them just had the consistency down, where we saw J-Swag have some issues yesterday, and I do not trust 2 Red Devils.
The thing is, sometimes you gotta put in the gamble where it looks the riskiest, and it usually pays off somehow. Sometimes the lowest odds somehow win more often, but maybe that's because you do them more often. Either way, we have the pick and bans on your screen already. Luminance, 3-piece, Candy Crush, and CS. Luminance already to start us off as a map, what we saw from Min and Jung against Steak and Cheese. Ooh, that's gonna be an amazing start. They go thick and fast to this. Agartha is 5th actually, so Trident Esports know for a fact that if everything goes wrong, Agartha should save.
Okay, so an argument in your favor towards maybe the 2 Red.
Oh wait, I'm thinking about 2 Red Devils in this.
Yeah.
Right? Forget everything I mentioned.
No. 2 Red Devils is relevant
back.
because, again, seeing waiting and simplicity the last two. If you're the 2 Red Devils, those being your 2 best tracks, seeing that it's the weakest tracks in these teams, maybe you're onto something there, Kriidy. Maybe you actually you might know what you're talking about, as it turns out.
It's an exemplary method. If anything is to go by, everybody can rely on the fact that I will probably curse every player at least once throughout this entire match. That is probably a given. So if there's one a consistent thing that happens is the fact that I consistently manage to just have somebody absolutely combobulate on the track. But regardless of that and my shenanigans, we have the top dogs on the server. Trident Esports and Antic, we will be moving on to Luminance, and this is the track that is gonna start us off. Gonna be an absolute wild match. This is one of those matches where it can be absolutely close racing, 10-9s on the board, but it could end up 4-0 for one of the teams because it will be just so close that it's very hard to take them apart, but it can just weigh 1 point to the other side. And it could still be a 4-0, 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. Could be anything at this point.
We won't know until we start this one up. Of course, have to get through those 30 seconds of warm-ups, which at this stage, again, I kind of agree with you said last time. If you're not warmed up by now, what were you doing?
Well, it is their first match, technically, to be honest.
Yeah, but, like, you should have been practicing, right? Like, you should be, you know.
To practice. You've been playing the entire tournament. That's enough practice. Everybody's here to play now. Who cares
so you just show up
practice?
cold, plug in your keyboard, and go. Like, no.
Well, first of all, I'm not a keyboard peasant. I'm a pad player. I play with a controller, the superior device, in every way. And but regardless of that, the Trident Esports and Antic Esports. No offense to
no big offense.
JSwag, at
keyboard
least,
players rise up.
Maybe on
take down the oppressive.
Regardless of that. Yeah, either way, JSwag already, maybe you're onto something here, because JSwag maybe with cold hands already hit probably the first corner of the track. But Baywak is up in front, contesting Spark and Kuda, so at least that is going well for them. But we'll see if Baywak is able to hold on to that first position. Oi, Kuda completely out of it there, so JSwag gets that third position back, and Baywak, well, Spark has to get now first position in order to get a draw out of this.
Yeah, Spark and Baywak going at it. Again, Baywak kind of that highlighted player to watch, who I think is going to be leading a majority of the rounds if Trident is going to come out on top. And Spark able to stay right with them, but you can see the speed Baywak has in the latter portions of this track, just pulling further and further ahead. All they needed is a clean launch here, and they should take the first round. Spark comes across P2, JSwag P3, and the first round goes to Trident.
Yeah, that is a very good start for Trident Esports. Maybe not the best start for JSwag, but hey, you take a third when it's given to you on a silver platter. So more than happy to come back and get points on the board for Trident Esports. Now Antic do have to respond here as well. It would be nice to get a victory of their own, but I don't think JSwag will be committing that mistake too often. So it is now Kuda who has to hopefully keep up with everything. I'm falling a bit behind. Have to release. Oh, and that's a no slide, and that is imminent death. So again, Spark has to get first position. Yeah,
all the pressure on Spark for a second time in a row. Also, quick question for those of you behind the scenes: how important of a mod is Zamkim? Because that is some degeneracy I'm seeing in the chat, and I think mod privileges should be stroked for Kuda's sake in this one. I could, of course, Baywak again out in front. The pressure on Spark to just try and stay ahead of JSwag, but JSwag looking a lot better this time around. Has a fair bit of momentum. It's going to go wide to keep that speed, and you can see him lunging into the ghost of Spark, but maybe they go a little bit too wide on the end. It makes for a more difficult launch, and they bonk the checkpoint, come across P3. Baywak, though, back-to-back wins, 4/10 off the world record.
Well, we'll see. Can Baywak do what Min couldn't, aka keep that 100% going for at least one track? It would be a nice little flex. If anything, would be nice to just take a screenshot afterwards. You could just say, 100% the entire match. GG. Go next. But we'll see if Baywak is able to hold on to that. He's on fire at the moment, at least, enjoying his time on Luminance as he should. JSwag also in the mix. Kuda and Spark are trying their best to get back into it, but even JSwag now is getting into it more and more, so it puts even more pressure on Spark and Kuda to get on it. Baywak, Kuda goes a bit too wide, gets dragged out wide, still is able to hold on somewhat, so not the worst, but with JSwag and Baywak just going into the sunset, I mean, even that little mistake is costly.
Yeah, the crazy thing is Kuda still looking for their first clean run, and the game might register this one as clean, but we know differently. Spark super wide, wants all the speed for the end, and Kuda bonks for a second time. That's going to knock him out. I don't even know if they have enough speed for the finish. They do, doesn't matter. Still is an ace for Trident, 3 points away from taking this first track.
Yeah, Bayback also with an even faster time, 58.4, you know, trying to basically show that he's got the merit on the track, you know. That world record is not up there without a reason, and I feel like, you know, Bayback and J-Swag, you know, they are gonna want to do a repeat of what they did to Antic, you know, is, you know, if anything is to go by, like, you know, when your mom asks if your laundry is done and you just say Antic, you know, then mom knows that it's fully washed now. But for the time
Jeez.
being, it is J-Swag that is trying to get back into it at the moment, having a bit of struggle at the moment. But Bayback's 100% win ratio is in the trouble with Spark in the lead.
How did your team go again yesterday?
We don't talk about
Yeah,
it. That's what
I think
happens
you
as
guys
well.
still be
Yeah.
at the dry cleaners is all I'm saying. Either way, Baywak is going to take advantage of a mistake from Spark, take the lead. Somehow the wheel doesn't hit, so Baywak, all they need to do is a clean finish as J-Swag sends it on the inside, gets past Kuda as well, and Trident win the first track. They're going to take this 10-2.
Yeah, I woke. If anything is to go by, I just woke up and chose violence. I've already talked down to Canada. I've taken
Deserve it.
pot shots at Indonesia,
Deserves
India,
it. Deserves it.
basically every nation under the sun soon. Who's next?
Look, I'm not
But
saying that those nations don't deserve it. Just, Estonia's got to take a hit as well, all right? It's only fair. It's only fair.
yeah, but was Asian Oceania in the Trackmania seasonal country championship? I think not.
Yeah, because they're too busy fighting it out here, all right?
Yeah, they were just too afraid of us. That's what they were.
Yeah, oh. Spooky. No, definitely. I would actually love to see, judging by the performance we've seen from all the Kiwis out there in this event, how New Zealand would have gone. Because I reckon New Zealand would
I
have
would
been up
say
there.
I talked about this with my teammates as well, because well, one of my friends was asking about Bayback, and I did say if New Zealand did have a lineup, I would honestly put them top 4 easily.
Yeah.
With Bayback and J-Swag in the lead, Planetary Goose as well. That
Yeah.
top 3 already, if that
Whew.
that would work in a campaign format, already insane. And with Swed being a nice substitute, New Zealand would be very much at the top,
Yeah.
fighting for those spots.
And then do you know
really.
what happens next? The same thing that always happens whenever New Zealand's do well internationally. Australia will claim them as their own.
Or something like that, but I don't know how those affairs work.
No,
it's
the biggest it's the biggest compliment you can give to a Kiwi is call them Australian once they're successful. Just look at Russell Crowe. Fun fact: born in New Zealand, but everyone calls him Australian. Either way, it's Kuda out in front so far, leading this track right now.
That's actually a nice statement there. Actually, that's a fun one as well. I always forget that as well, to be honest. But it is funny how it goes. But currently, Kuda is in the lead with Sparky in 3rd position. J-Spec is the one to actually deny. So Baywak's 100% win ratio, 0-7 indeed. It was fun while it lasted, but it is now over. And with Antic arriving on 3-piece, they take the lead for the first time in the series, and it's an important thing to do, because they cannot allow for Trident Esports to get too up in front, especially on that map pick that they first picked as well. So they have to get this done, or otherwise this is gonna be a bit of a repeat of what actually happened in the group stage. But for the time being, it's a good start for Antic and exactly what they needed.
Permission to be a little toxic.
Sure, I've been rinsing every nation, and Kuda is in
Baywak was calling me out for
well.
calling this track the most difficult one before. Came in 4th place last round. Just saying. Just saying. No, but J-Swag right now looking to chase down Spark right on the line on the dirt. Looking to stay behind them. We'll see if they're going to be able to make the pass in the latter half of this one again. You want to lunge, you want to go for it, but staying in that 3rd gear, it's so tempting. J-Swag a little bit deep on the launch. Spark should be able to maintain the speed nicer, but it's J-Swag looking for the late lunge. They're going to go for the snipe. Just miss out. Instead, we get a draw.
Yeah, it is a draw. J-Swag is not never goes for the full a no slide really, so it was gonna be a pretty tight affair in the end. If he had gone for the no slide, I think he would have actually gotten it. So that's the difference between going for that no slide and just going for that tapping of the slide there. So it does make a difference there. But Antic keep their lead, and that is the important part here. Kuda and Spark still hold on. Kuda not having the most wondrous time compared to yesterday, where he was just absolutely on its own. If he can get get back to what he did yesterday, I mean, Trident Esports would have a lot more trouble. But for now, Payback is the one that gives us the perspective. Kuda clips the checkpoint. It's not the worst part. It's still able to somewhat get a line going and keep it in the mix. But now, touching that outside wall puts him a bit further back.
Yeah, it is. Spark as well, taking a little bit of a clunky line, it almost looks like, at least compared to the Trident side. Still, this one with 3 drivers out in front, it's going to come down to the very end on this one. Spark's going to need something magical to avoid getting ace, but goes for a safe finish, and that's going to do it. Look at the time gap between first to third, and yet Trident still walks away with 3 points.
Exactly. This is what I said. These two teams are absolutely going toe-to-toe, and it can very much happen that it can be one of the most closest races we've seen so far throughout this entire tournament, but it can just swing so easily. When you have so fine margins, it can be the difference between ace, victory, and a draw so easily. It was basically a few thousandths of a seconds between one of them, J-Swag,
from first to third.
1600s between second and third, but that's the difference between an ace and a victory.
I mean, it was 600ths from first to third, right? So like every of them,
yeah.
all finishing in the blink of an eye. That is insane. And look at the times right now. We're doing something similar. Everyone just within 2/10 essentially, although it's Kuda who is starting to break away from the pack. Only just Antic in position to potentially for an ace in their own right. Bioax going to be the one who's going to have to make the late lunge from behind. Spark, though, has a very rough angle coming into the end. That might leave him exposed. Not quite enough for a late overtake. Again, all within a 10th, it feels like the top 3, but Antic still wins the round.
It's almost a carbon copy of the margins from the previous round. These rounds are absolutely being cooked to a crisp at the moment. But Antic are the one getting slightly the short end of the stick here, with Payback being the one that is falling a bit behind already at the start. Didn't get the flick that he goes for at the start. Chaseback also clipping the checkpoint. This is the perfect opportunity that Antic have been looking for. They have a very good gap, and they now have to hold on to it. Payback will have a very low jump, awkward landing, will lose out on a bit more there. So it is now for Antic. For Antic's ace to lose at this point, they have to be clinical, and they seem to be doing so, at least for the time being.
I mean, they're going to be on pace for a monster time. It feels like both of them have a chance at it if they're able to nail that ending. Spark got so close with that back right wheel, not quite connecting. Here we go. Kuda goes for the wide entry, gets all of the speed they need. Kuda's going to get something magical here. I feel like if they risk the finish, they don't go as hard as they could, but still get a PB. So close to that world record.
That was world record pace. Holy moly, what an amazing time by Kuda. And that was what he did yesterday as well. He was absolutely phenomenal. And now Trident Esports are getting a bit of a taste of what Spark and Kuda can do on 3-piece. J-Swag and Payback are fast, but they need to now up their game if they want to keep up. Antic are on track point, but we have seen this before. The margins are minimalistic. This 6-8 lead can so easily swing the other way, but this is very good stuff by Antic, and what a time to come into fruition.
Yeah, again, right now at the moment, all 4 of our runners are on pace for another monster time round. And someone said it in the chat, you ain't, stopping the ace on that one. Well, they might be able to stop it on this one. Again, Baywack goes for that very tight line for all the speed coming into the dirt. I actually think Baywack is going to have to go for the snipe here. They're going to try to risk it, but not as much as Spark does. That's enough for an ace. That's enough for the track. Antic equalize the series.
What an amazing 3-piece. Probably the best we've seen so far. Almost not a single crash. That was some of the best pace we've seen on a single track throughout the tournament. Absolutely delivering on the series. But we see a track that we have not seen today whatsoever. It is Candy Crush. Now, this is a track that was a very interesting playground for Payback and J-Swag. They were enjoying their time compared to, for example, the 2 Red Devils that maybe did not have the best of times here. But overall, when they met at least them. So regardless of that, it is going to be a tough uphill battle. But what a statement by Antic Esports. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it was a great round. And again, Antic chose that track, probably knowing it was going to be a battle like it was. And to come out on top has to do wonders for them and their confidence. Granted, Trident was also very close to flipping that map, and now they're going to have to kind of defend their own pick. Again, we called this their playground before. Antic, though, they're showing more and more the consistency that I felt like they were known for in that upper semifinal. Again, I don't really think the map selection matters too much with these teams, just because my expectation is
I don't think so
like
either.
they're strong on all of them.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups where two Titans go up against each other. You have multiple uppercuts. It just basically means who has the better swing throughout the rounds, and it will just go back and forth, I think, and depending, of course, Kuda from the heights of the previous track finds himself in 4th position at the moment, and Baywak and JSwag are doing exactly what they usually do on this track. Candy Crush, well, it could be a sweet ace to start off, as JSwag and Spark are trying to, you know, get it on the board here, but, you know, Spark is trying to chase down him, but, you know, it's just fine margins. Kuda is even trying to get into the mix. Goes a bit too tight, you will lose out on a bit of speed, so Spark is the only one who can deny an ace, but it seems that Trident Esports, well, they got to ace back-to-back on the previous track, but they get their ace on the board here with 3-0 already.
Yeah, I mean, Baywak just had an incredibly clean run, and nobody was catching them, as well as JSwag coming across at the tail end of that. Also an ace to start things off, and a very calm one at that. Antic, I know they've got more pace in the tanks, and I think they're realizing right now maybe they got to risk it a little bit more, particularly in these early stages, and you can see Kuda doing just that, really putting their car close to the wall. Not pixel perfect, but very tight nonetheless, and exactly what they needed. However, it's going to be JSwag with the late lunge now coming through into the second half of the track. JSwag pulls a little bit further ahead, goes for a wide entry into the grass so they can maintain the speed. It wasn't the cleanest landing, but they still avoid the wall, and that's a mistake. Kuda's gone.
Kuda is indeed gone. He has probably the best win percentage of Antic Esports, but similarly the biggest crash percentage as well. Definitely a man that is going for the risk state, but Spark is the one that has to again deny the Trident Esports, but with a cleaner entry on Baywak, this is going to be a back-to-back ace. Spark has to go for the safe finish even, so Kuda comes in here, and Trident Esports, well, it was an amazing thriller last time, and it still is, but JSwag and Baywak have really not given anybody any chances on Candy Crush, and we can see why at the moment. Also, fun fact, well, with that, JSwag previously was on 0% crashes and 0% top ones, but with that, he secures his first top one of the day as well, so it just shows JSwag and Baywak absolutely clinical, and it shows the difference, you know. Spark and Kuda, well, they cannot hold up to the fact that they have to get 0% crashes, because Kuda, again, finds himself in the back, and Spark, well, with a wobbly landing there, well, still keeps going.
I mean, again, I think that 0% crashes, considering the tempo that both these teams have been setting, is the most impressive stat right now, because we have been pushing, you know, within 1 second of world record, it feels like, every single round, and Trident has never kind of eased up on it. It's the consistency I keep banging the drum about. They've constantly had it, and they're doing it again. JSwag looking for another massive time here, and it's a late bonk from Antic. Another ace. This round is a disaster as we get closer to the world record.
Well, you know, what Kuda going, they are going from an absolute height to an absolute jeepers at the moment, you know.
Yep.
You know, it's not often where you can say, you know, I don't think any team so far has absolutely been 12-0 throughout the playoff. And of all things, Antic could be the first team to get 12-0 by Trident Esports as well, and on Candy Crush. That would be a statement and a half, I think. But normality resumes. Baywak decided, you know what, I'm not gonna absolutely tore him apart. I'll give him a chance, you know. JSwag, just get the point. We can move on to the next track.
And there goes the perfect 0% crash percentage from Trident as well. But to go back to the point on the 12-0, it's because of the consistency from Trident at the speed where they're at. Like, Antic has been having to push and take more risks, and the result has been them, you know, just unable to really get clean runs so far on this Candy Crush track. JSwag, yeah, they've got themselves a nice little lead. All they have to do is come across that finish. Actually, we could be seeing another really nice time here from JSwag. 56.7. I mean, even the PB from Spark can't even get within close to J-Swag, it feels like. So with the draw, Trident take Candy Crush 10-1. And after our first two tracks, to see one go this one-sided, that is scary for the New Zealand-based org.
Yeah, and if we go back to the huge Danny 69 insignificant PB by Spark at the moment, nice on the board, absolutely does nothing to help Antic.
Danny subs
Regardless
in
of,
and still catches strays the next day, man.
hey, huge Danny 69. He's not up to the Hall of Fame that is Sabo Jr., but you know he's up there at least. You know where things matter. We always love a sub. You know, it brought us another great meme, and with insignificant PB being one of them. You know, that's at least, you know, he lives on in chat. You know, we will remember huge Danny 69. Hopefully, maybe in the maybe in the future, instead of being huge Danny 69, he will be great Danny 69. But for the time being, we are gonna move on to Shies. And well, it's another opportunity for Antic to get another track point to get level with Trident Esports.
Yeah, we'll see how they bring it through. By the way, I want to reiterate my love for huge Danny69. Okay, still probably the best name out of everyone here, the best username tag. I will take that with me to the grave. And for a sub, they did quite well. All right, they were putting it up there. They were beating Min on occasion. So big shout outs to huge Danny69. But that's neither here nor there. This is a very key round for Antic right now, needing to keep this series stabilized, and Spark driving as such as they continue to pull further and further ahead. I thought J-Swag actually bonked there, but it was just internet connection. A little bit awkward. Still, no one's catching Spark unless they make a mistake this first round.
Yeah, Buddha is in the wings of Payback, and you immediately finish the sentence, and poof, Spark is last. Almost. Payback is still with him, keeping him company, but the Payback will have a better line here as well. He will set up wider, will have more speed, so he's going to come in with extra bit. But J-Swag and Kuda fighting up in top. Kuda will have a much better exit, but Spark is not going to be close enough to overtake J-Swag. So it will be a victory for Antic. A bit of a shaky one for everybody involved. I think everybody had a bit of a clip there or one, but not too much to really ruin anybody's race completely. But it still is a victory for Antic, and for the time being, that is exactly what they need. And they start off the exact same way they start off 3P. So will we see a repeat of that? That is yet to be seen, as Payback is, well, he's getting there. He knows he's out. This is an average 8-pack round for Payback. Clip it and ship it. That is another gift to be made. If anybody wants to, clip it, and you will have another great clip
Spark
of annoying Payback forever.
Yeah, Spark running into some bumps right there. So it's just going to be a showdown between J-Swag and Kuda. J-Swag trying to save the draw, which Trident needs. A round loss puts them in a bit of an early hole right now. That said, J-Swag actually has a pretty comfortable lead. You know, quarter of a second usually should be enough to get yourself a nifty little round win. Just don't bottle the ending. This last turn sometimes can throw people off if you are too, cautious with it. J-Swag is not, so we will get the draw. Trident stay within one.
Yeah, they stay within one. Nothing really fancy happening in this round apart from Bayback's shenanigans. He got simply stuck at the pylon, had a contemplation moment there for at least 5 to 10 seconds. Decided, okay, I'll just still respawn and go again. Also, very nice time by J-Swag, 0.5 as well. Just gets thrown, just casually just swept aside onto the rug as well with what Payback did in the round.
Gotta do what you've got to do. Here we go, though. Big round for Trident. Gonna look to equalize with a round win, if not take the lead. Antic, however, so far the more consistent team on this track. J-Swag goes super high up on that dirt and is going to leave with the most exit speed, looking to chase down Spark. Kuda, the only one who really didn't get through the cleanest, starts to fall a little bit back. Baywack as well, going to be going wheel to wheel in the fight for third as Spark and J-Swag duo for first. Baywak late lunge got high. Can they maintain the speed? Not really, but Kuda's going to go ahead and clip the wall, so they're going to be out of the running for P1 as Baywak now finally gets that exit speed they were looking for, enough to take themselves up into P1. Spark is going to be the one sitting further behind, goes for more of an inside line, maintains the speed, gets himself up to P2 with the momentum to run Baywak down as well. It's all down to the last turn with Sparks got all the speed. Can they stick the ending? Yes, they can, and they force the draw.
Probably one of the closest rounds you're ever going to see on CS. What a great way to Spark to hold out. That could have been a difference between, again, an ace, but he holds out for a draw in this case. So absolutely phenomenal for Spark to pull it out. And Kuda is absolutely doing his best impression of going for another contemplation moment on CS, similar to Baywak, but he's completely out of it as well. Also, I'm going to take a stab at it as well. Baywak, not Baywak, JSwag, 0% crash rate so far. Yep. Absolutely no round where it's...
Shush!
It's fine, it's fine, don't worry about it. It doesn't work. If I try to do it by intention, it never works. It's when I try to just be your general average Joe, trying to be nice, then it works. You know, when I do it on purpose, it never works. You know, you need to know how the caster curse works. It's a weapon of only the true legends can wield. And with JSwag almost wielding a first position here, he might overtake Spark, which is exactly what he's doing, and gets the overtake. And Baywak is third, and it's a victory on the board, and with 5-5 on the board.
See, I had to save JSwag by bringing attention to it, because if I didn't say anything, you know he was crashing. I had to bring it to. I had to bail you out from that curse by bringing attention to it. All right, I know all about caster curses. Don't worry. I know how to use the power for good. All right, and unlike evil, like you.
It's a nice weapon, though. Who uses caster cursing for good? Oh, but JSwag gets that clip. Okay, it's with a bit of delay, so your efforts are futile, Max. Your efforts are futile.
I can only protect him for so long, I guess. Hey, still not in a crash yet. Again, the crash statistic works by keeping within 2 seconds, so JSwag will be fine. Bonks aren't crashes, all right? They're two different things still. This is looking very good for Antic right now, actually. Parlink's ahead. In position for the ace. It's going to be up to Baywak to try and play spoiler, and we've seen so many cars come from the third position to steal it away. Pixel perfect nearly through the gas section, and there's the bonk from Spark. Baywak actually has speed, but doesn't have the better exit, so Kuda will come across P1, Spark P4, and we again get a draw. We're tied 6-all.
Yeah, with that little clip, it's not a crash, it's a happy little accident. JSwag, still 0% crash rate. Let's go. Everything's fine, you know, Max. It's just, JSwag is impenetrable today. He's doing absolute legend stuff, and Baywak also doing first place positions as well, and Spark falling a bit behind as well now. It's putting more pressure on. But JSwag again goes a bit too hot into the wall. But if there's any spot you want to make a mistake, I guess it's that spot. It happened last round as well.
Yeah, and in fact, they actually have enough speed to stay ahead of Spark still. That said, Spark has slowly been gaining, so we could see a late lunge for third place. The battle for first, though, it's all going to be Baywak trying to chase down Kuda. We could be in position for yet another draw. 7-7 would be incredibly tense for both these teams, yet I don't see anyone catching Kuda unless they make a mistake. JSwag, though, starting to build a bit more of that momentum. Actually, he's going to try to get ahead of their teammate. Baywak as well with the lost speed. Kuda's actually slowed down a bit. JSwag is going to have the best exit of the trio, gets in front of the teammate, but too far back for the real late lunge. Actually, Baywak with the riskier finish holds on to P2. We draw nonetheless 7-all.
It's a draw on the board, but track point for both teams, and we've seen potential aces can come very easily on this track. So if something goes horrifyingly wrong, or goes splendidly well for you, you can snipe an ace or get a minimum a draw. So we'll see how things will go for this round. Everybody actually survives that third turn for once, so we have another round on the board. So who's willing to risk it more to get that track point, or will we see a throw on the board, or maybe a victory for difference? But Spark has a bit of a funky landing there, clips the porter there, and gives away the position. a possibility for that ace, but Kuda is the only one to deny.
J-Swag had speed, though. It's been very, very slowly gaining. And now up
Oh,
the
no.
wall, it's Baywhack who whacks against the curb. And unfortunately, that could cost them P1. Kuda versus J-Swag. They're going to be neck and neck to the line. J-Swag with the inside line, but Kuda with the riskier finish. It's 0.3 thousandths of a second. J-Swag comes out on top.
Yeah, the sideways finish, a classic. You mean you have more speed, but if you get the more inside finish, you just have enough to stay ahead, and that is exactly what J-Swag did and holds the Trident Esports members up in front. Now, they have the better position here. They only need 1 point to get to 10, but so if anything goes wrong, at least they can go to overtime. But if they get a victory here, they secure it. An ace would be ideal, but Antic have that ace potential. If they get it, they get the track point. So there's many possibilities. Doctor Strange would go absolutely mental with the possibilities on the board, but which one will we get?
I do not know. I mean, I'm kind of hoping for our first overtime right now, yet if things finish as they are, it is going to be a Trident victory. The pressure is going to be on Spark to make up a lot of ground. 3/10 feels like an entire age away, but Baywhack has some problems, and all of a sudden Spark's up into P3. J-Swag is going to have to go for a crazy snipe to try to force the draw. Kuda, though, has too much speed through the final corners. They bonk at the end, but still hold on. They make the save, and we have our first overtime.
We are going the distance. So first overtime, and befittingly between these two titans. Holy moly, indeed. We are gonna see it, but how will this now end? I mean, this could go either way. Baywhack has been having the shorter end of the stick, and he will have so in this round as well, putting all the pressure onto J-Swag. But honestly, at this point, it seems J-Swag is the bigger man today compared to Baywhack. You know, step aside, we got a new captain of the team. He's the captain now, but can J-Swag pull it out when it matters the most? He needs to fully send it here. Kuda and Spark are not giving him much, but J-Swag has the better line. I think he will have slightly bit more speed. No, actually not quite. Gets a bit of a funky line, but Kuda and Spark looking to go for that track point unless something goes horribly wrong. With J-Swag landing awkwardly as well, I think that is what she wrote.
That's going to do it. J-Swag just too far back, and I think Trident are aware of it as well. Antic back against the wall in overtime, get a very nice ace, very fast time as well, 58.7 essentially for both of the Antic members. We're tied 2 apiece. Crazy track, crazy round. And I still think we've got 3 more to go. I don't see this going anywhere else but 7 rounds.
Yeah, it could very easily go the distance. I'm looking forward to it as well. All the series so far, well, we had only one before, but even that looked that possibly to go to a best of 7 all the way through, but it just was a bit too short for steak and cheese. But Sam does not know how the Trackmania World Tour thing works, and it is still 0% for J-Swag, so
yeah.
Nice one. Doesn't even know how his tournament works. Regardless of that, or at least the script, it is, I believe it is 1.5 seconds the gap towards first position when it is considered a crash, if my memory serves me right. Yeah, so it is 1.5 in my opinion. I don't think it is 2, it is 1.5, but I could be mistaken. I always forget, it's either 2 or 1.5. J-Swag, can you do one round where we can check it out? And Sam's confirmed 1.5.
Who told me 2?
But we are on Agartha, so let's see how things
lied
go.
to me and told me 2. Someone gave me bad information, and yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to figure out that mystery later. But right now, the biggest mystery is what happened to Kuda at the start of this round. A very rough start for the Antic driver as we come through the dirt. Granted, it all comes down to the ice slide, I feel like, where a run can be made or broken, and Kuda can take all of that time back if they come through the exit clean. A lot tighter of an exit as well. They made up time, but then bonked the wall for a second time, so they're going to be out of this one. The race is going to be between Baywhack and Spark.
Yeah, it's going to be between the two. Who will get the better wall here? It can be much of a difference. Baywhack will have a better one. He has slightly more speed. Will he have a better exit here? Goes for the double tap here. Much cleaner line. That is so much better. And that's how you want to do it. Get it low and steady there. Spark now has to get an exceptional ending, but Baywak sets up perfectly. Low jump by Baywak with that, and that is how the cookie crumbles. Victory on the board for Trident Esports. And funnily enough, it is J-Swag who holds the world record here as well, so it's not actually Baywak. So Antic are definitely against the wall here if and they have to pull out a tricky business, but I think this is how the match is gonna be. I take my map pick, you take your map pick, and we'll just end it on map 7, which will be Simplicity. What a map to end on as well.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a fascinating one if we do get there. Baywak, though, is going to whack against the wall, and all of a sudden, J-Swag, the world record runner, is going to have to kind of make a bit of a later lunge in this one because they find themselves back, and that's not the cleanest dismount from the ice. In fact, they're out of this one entirely. Antic in position for an ace to take the 4-2 lead.
Yeah, and Antic could go up in a very good fashion here. That ace would be absolutely a treat for them. And they would go up on Trident Esports map pick. Kuda is slightly getting slower, but maybe knowing that Baywak is a bit further behind, go opts for a bit safer line, but he's more than fine at the moment. Just don't do anything drastic in the end, and you should be more than fine, and that is exactly what they do. And they get the ace, a very nice one to get on their opponent's map pick, and they go 2-4 up, and Antic take the helm for now, but can they hold on to it? That is the important part.
Yeah, very, very strong performance right there. I mean, the double error from the Trident side, and if you're not going to mention it, I will. 4% crash rate for J-Swag. The dream is dead. The dream is dead.
Agartha knows what to do. It is, of course, the map with ice on it that ruins.
It's a world record, Honor. No excuse.
How to deliver. Yep.
No excuse.
It's not even me. It's ice at this point. You know, it's not my fault. Kuda in the pole. So it is again Spark who has to lead the front for Antic. But he does have a very nice gap at the moment. But Baywak is not too far behind. And last time it was a similar gap, but it was the plastic wall right that made the difference.
And we'll see if it comes through this time. Baywak trying to make some ground up on Spark. They're going to go for a much smoother turn, and they actually do gain about 1/10 of a second at this rate. I think they're going to be able to catch them. Baywak with so much more speed, but Spark is able to regain all down to the last turn. Baywak risks it. It's going to be a drag race, and they don't get the snipe. 2,000ths off a PB for Spark, and it was needed to force the draw.
That was an absolutely insane risk by Baywak. That could have gone fundamentally absolutely wrong. But that was the most riskiest way to do that as well. You can get that line actually. If you manage to clip your back wheel on that wall, you won't get a slowdown there. And it will get you more speed. But now with J-Swag in the wall, Baywak needs to bring that out again because he now needs to fight off 2 members of Antic. And, well, he needs to get that done. But with that, oh, that is a nice save. I'm not seeing that quite often. He touches the wall a bit, but then swings back to flick for a nose slide. That is a nice save there. Very good. Good strat there. Actually gets a lot more speed than Kuda and Spark. And Kuda cannot do ice. Note to self, Kuda is washed on ice. You heard it here first.
I think it's just because they wash the ice and it's super slick, all right? Not necessarily Kuda in this situation. Either way, Spark now in the reverse position of last time, about the same distance back when Baywak started to make their lunge. Spark's going to have to do something similar. They don't quite have the pace yet, though, as they're actually falling a little bit further behind. Baywak should be able to get a nice finish. Doesn't need to risk it like before. Trident will win the round, and they'll get back within 1.
Yeah, that is a very nice round to get for Trident Esports. 2-1 to get to add it to their point tally, and it will be 5-6. Still trailing behind, but that is good. J-Swag, of course, Agartha really taking jabs at J-Swag at the moment. Hasn't really had a clean round, to be honest. Has always faltered a bit on a few occasions. But I will say Agartha is definitely one of those, you know, it taketh and it giveth. And this time it taketh Kuda from us. That is definitely for sure.
Kuda's just having a roughie here. So is Spark, actually. A little bit of a clip right there. Doesn't do the most damage. They can easily make up the time right now on the ice slide if they get the clean dismount, because Baywak and J-Swag each go low. Spark went high, which should mean a bit more speed into the dirt section here. They make up a little bit of ground on J-Swag. Not enough for the overtake just yet, so Spark still will be having to put the gas pedal down as much as you can through the engine cutoff zone. Wall ride does see Spark continue to slowly gain. Again, this is to avoid an ace because nobody is catching Baywhack on this round. J-Spec looking to hold off P2. Spark still slowly gaining. They've got a little bit of speed, but they need a perfect turn here, and they're not going to get it. An ace for Trident. They're now 2 points away, I should say, from winning the 5th track.
A very nice time by Baywhack as well. Absolutely solid. A 0.3 in rounds is very good risking as well. It shows that the ice was pretty clean as well. Only subtle differences that make that lose you time on this track as well. To keep to pace with the world record and only losing 0.2 is absolutely a phenomenal thing. Kuda again having struggles on Agartha, goes wide, clips the pole there and leaves Spark again to do the heavy lifting on this track. You know, this is Agartha is proving to be the same thing that happened in my in the Baltic competition as well. It just does not have any mercy. You might be good on ice, forget about it. Chase back, 0% crash rate, out the window. Spark somehow still in first position, but Payback is looking to take that away.
Yeah, Baywhack has potential for a big late finish here, and that would be enough to win the track because Kuda has gone 1 second behind J-Spec, who did struggle on the ice, but not struggle enough. Spark gets a rough landing. Baywhack's got the speed. Spark's able to recover, though. It's still probably going to be a drag race to the end. All about the turn here. Does Baywhack go for the risk? They do, but they bog the wall, and now all of a sudden Kuda's out in front, so it's going to be a round win for Antic. They get within striking distance. Trident's 1 point away. We could be seeing another draw here, Kriidy.
I don't know about that respawn. I guess it wouldn't have made much of a difference. I would have still carried on driving there. It's not that big of a loss, but maybe Kuda would have still overtaken. It's very hard to judge in that round, but it gives Antic a bit of possibilities here. Oh, it's GG. Over Jover. It's Jover. It was fun while it lasted. It took about 10 seconds, and it's over. Kuda is still trying to figure out the start and how to do it properly. It doesn't even get to the ice.
Yeah, Kuda, actually, I'm surprised with how much Kuda has struggled on this track right now. 41% crash rate, although J-Swag has some issues as well. And all of a sudden, maybe we're not done yet. Spark, though, still has to get about a half second on Baywhack, who has been looking most in form on this track. So I'm not going to hold my breath and say it's done and dusted yet. Baywhack just needs to keep it clean, although
it is done and dusted.
They did mess up the turn last time. Also, Kuda's still 4 seconds back, so, like, yeah, it's...
Yeah, as much as Chasewag had a fumble, you can easily at least recover from there. You won't lose 6 seconds at least, and Baywhack does get first position. So it was fun while it lasted, but Trident Esports take their map pick with a bit of an interesting way that we got there. But normality ensues, 11-9 on the board. We don't go into overtime, and with 3-2 on the board, well, Antic have to get their final map pick done. And it is waiting. Well, it is either a waiting lobby for simplicity or Antic's road or Trident's road into the lower bracket final. And one of these teams will be then heading to the grand final. If Trident Esports take this, they have that ticket stamped and secured.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be tough, though. Both these teams have really kept it close. It feels like every single track except for Candy Crush. That was we don't talk about Candy Crush, but what we do talk about right now is waiting, and we'll be waiting to see if Antic can equalize this series. I mean, so far we have gotten, every team nailing their pick, it feels like. So expectation has to be round 7.
Yeah, it has to be round 7. That is at least what we are expecting here as well. Now, the only issue I don't want to be the party pooper, but the last time Trident Esports and Antic played this waiting track, Trident Esports won. So Antic have to basically undo their mistake from the group stage in order to win this track. But of course, this is playoffs, so everything can be thrown out the window, but it is something that you can keep in the back of your head as we drive this track, that Antic are slightly on the back foot here when it comes to the track. Whether we will be able to continue that, we'll have to wait and see. For the time being, everybody gets it nice and clean, no real mistake. Only J-Spec was fallen a bit behind just by pure pace, so nothing really separate them as Spark clips the corner. And all of what I said in the last 10 seconds is completely untrue.
That said, it's not going to be a draw if Baywak can make a late overtake, and they're going to go for more of an inside line. They do maintain the speed with it. Still neck and neck with Kuda, it feels like. Only about a wheel behind. It's going to be a shot at the end, and Kuda nose in front, 9,000ths of a second, forces the draw.
Yeah, much needed draw by Guda. Great race by the two players as well. Spark getting saved there by his teammate, and rightly so, much needed as well. It is a draw, but it is something that Spark now is the one that, again, having a bit of struggle on this track. Not really enjoying at least the first 2 rounds of it. It was actually a good start by him, but the falter's a bit off here, and he is going to be a lot slower now. So it is Baywak and J-Swag who are hunting down Kuda again, and Kuda, very nice line here, very nice tight. It's a lot of exit speed out of it. J-Swag also not too far behind, but very good setup by J-Swag. Takes over Kuda here and leaves Baywak also in the wings as well. Neck and neck racing as we go into the final part of the track.
Yeah, this is going to be very critical. Antic cannot afford to really give up many points. Kuda has more of the inside line. J-Swag losing so much speed. They're going to drop back to third, so it's going to be up to Baywak again to try and get a snipe. Last time they were 9,000ths short. This time it's a little bit more. A draw from Antic keep themselves tied.
Yeah, Kuda at the moment, keeping Antic afloat, the oceans of Trident Esports are trying to drown any opportunity, but Kuda is keeping that ship afloat. And for the time being, if Spark now can get into it as well, I feel like Antic have a much better opportunity, but it's very fine margins at the moment. Kuda is having to put it proper stellar work on this track to keep them going, but so far, all is good in the hood for them for now. But J-Swag and Baywak, I don't think they're gonna let go of that pedal, and they're gonna just put it down even harder, and it seems that this round is gonna be even closer than ever
Spark's
before.
still with it though, so we'll see if they can continue to stay with it. All 4 drivers essentially within a 10th of a second with each other. Baywak very low line, can't stick the landing, so they'll be the first one to drop out. An opportunity now for Antic if Kuda can stay ahead. A J-Swag who goes very, very wide, again loses speed, but so too does Kuda. That allows Spark to move into the lead. J-Swag still sitting in second. Baywak though has got in front of Kuda as well, so it's going to be another draw.
Basically, it is an Antic sandwich, and J-Swag and Baywak cannot get out of it. It's either Kuda or Spark first, and then Baywak and J-Swag just enjoying a good old sandwich of Antic members. So it's so far Antic are just literally holding on to everything in their power to just get that first position and hold out to a draw, and they're really trying to make this account for them. It is 3-3, so everything is still possible, and it is now J-Swag who trails a bit behind, but it has been something that you mentioned quite many times now. It is J-Swag that goes very wide in the drift. I don't think he's very comfortable in going for that very aggressive tight line. Wants to just be sure, but now Kuda is again out, so it again one of the members of Antic just has to get first position.
Yeah, but Spark's actually falling behind. J-Swag got a bit more speed, and Trident are going to set themselves up for the ace as J-Swag this time keeps it tight, and look at that, maintains the speed, goes up into P2, the slight adjustment paying out for them. It's going to be a late lunge from Spark. It's not going to be enough. An ace for Trident. They are 4 points away from the grand final.
It is an ace finally, They were chopping away at it 3 rounds in a row, but the 4th one is the one that finally lends themselves the ace that they've been looking for. And now, well, things are only gonna get more difficult because it seems that J-Swag and Baywak are just gonna be absolutely going to be putting the nail in the coffin. They're already a 10th away, and this is what Trident Esports love. They have now smelled the blood, and they are gonna go for the throat. They are up in 1 and 2, and Spark and Kuda are trying everything in their power to catch up.
I love seeing J-Swag take these tighter lines. All of a sudden, the confidence is now there, and she hadn't had the speed to show it. However, Spark going for these later lunges, just not able to maintain that speed. Still, it's enough to get him up to P3. Kuda now making a bit of a lunge as well. J-Swag once again goes wide for the tighter line through here, but it might cost them the ace as Spark has moved up into P2. No one's catching Baywak, who is so fast. J-Swag goes high for the safe finish. A round win for Trident, 2 points away now. Oh, Antic, they need the ace, I think, this round for any chance to win it out.
Yeah, ace is a must now. It has to happen. If they do, they cannot allow a victory to happen. They cannot allow for an ace to happen. They can still sacrifice one draw, but they need an ace route. And with Spark out of it, I think it's now the only thing they can do is get a draw out of this. It's not GG quite yet, chat. Do not call it quite yet. Kuda can still get first position and get a one more chance at this, but Baywak is
Baywak's
just
too strong.
firing on all cylinders. Man is on a mission. He was fed up with this draw shenanigans. We're done. We are done. We are going to be stamping our ticket to the grand final, and I'm going to do it faster than ever before doing this track. He's going for absolute a killer time here as well, and that is a GG now on the board. 56-0. It is well done by Trident Esports. Well played. It is a 4-2, but what a hell of a series. We are getting treated today. This is an absolute perfect all-out buffet of Trackmania action for today. Absolutely for it. And we have 2 more matches still to go.
Yep.
We're halfway there, Max. Halfway there only.
Yeah, there's still so much that's yet to be played between Trident and Antic, perhaps as well. I mean, Antic's going to go down to that lower bracket, and we're going to see a match we haven't seen, so far in the playoffs with Antic taking on the 2 Red Devils coming up soon. Trident, though, that was a big win, and I'm a little bit surprised at some of the inconsistencies we saw from Antic today in the series. Granted, they were pushing a little bit harder than what they did yesterday. However, they were able to rise to the occasion in that upper semifinal against Steak and Cheese. This time, not quite as much. So we'll see what the 2 Red Devils do to them. We'll see what happens in that next series. For now, though, we are going to be taking, I believe, a bit of a break before we get into it. I'm going to try to find the exact time.
Yeah, we have
for
a bit of time. The next match is scheduled to be at 15.
So we got
you
8
can
minutes.
quickly check your times. It is 02 at the moment. So we will have a bit of time to recollect ourselves from an absolute thriller of an upper bracket final. And I mean, we have now 3 teams basically fighting for the top spots. And hey, the 2 Red Devils are now going to be the dark. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the 2 Red Devils are going to be the dark horse that could absolutely define what kind of a grand final we have. All of these teams deserve it. But I think the 2 Red Devils still have something to go for it. Antic are not quite out of it yet, but what a hell of a thriller that we had there.
I think it's going to be a fun one, so stick around. We're going to go to that break now. We'll be back in about 7 minutes from this point, maybe 6.5, so stick around. The lower bracket final when we return.